to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a wonderful guest here for the show today. He's back for a second time. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself to the world?
I'm so happy to be here with you again, Kimberly. My name is Richard Blank. I'm the proud CEO of Costa Rica's call center. And I love being a guest on your podcast. This is awesome.
And I wanted to go ahead and say thank you for being on my show. And can you dig into your past again, leading up into your present, to saturate the audience that don't know who you are with what you do?
Sure, let's take a deep breath and give a Cliff Note version. I'm originally from Northeast Philadelphia, proud alumni of Abington High School, decided to be a Spanish major at the University of Arizona. When I was 27 years old in August of 2000, I was given a 1 in a million opportunity, Kimberly, to move to Costa Rica, and I took it. And so I decided to work at my friend's center for 4 years, learn the business from the inside out, not at sea level. And then 16 years ago, my wife and I, we threw our hats in the ring, started a business, and here we are today.
Wow. And I heard that, well, I read that you basically trained over 5,000 employees. Tell me about that.
That was quite interesting. My friend's call center was exceptionally large. I'm only 150 strong. So when I came down here, I was just teaching English. And then when I learned the call center industry, I decided to take a test at that. And so the training, since I'm a native speaker, I guess I had an advantage. I wasn't going to insult the agents. I mean, they put their time into learning a second language. And so, Kimberly, what I was focusing on was more soft skills, diplomacy and strategy, and just giving people balance when they're in the midst of a conversation. And so was I new to this industry? Sure, but I wasn't new to speaking with people. And I understood about conversation flow. And so when I was able to share certain, I guess, things we have in the United States in regards to genres and cultures and traditions, it allowed people to understand a little bit more when they were speaking slang or celebrating a holiday. It really made them more attuned to the North American market. So my training, once again, as a linguist, was really just role playing and writing scripts and just making sure people don't stutter and they have proper pausing and delivery. It's almost like an actor. It's just training that skill. And after so many years, you see certain patterns in what works. And so you just take the good and remove the bad, and the next thing you know, you got a good hour and a half of a training session that seems to produce killer telemarketers.
Wow, well said. Can you tell me about your public speaking and your styles?
Sure. I guess I still, not that I think like a child, but I really focus on imagination, and I like to use descriptive vocabulary, almost like an old storyteller by a fireside chat. So my conversations are very animated and colorful, and I try to anchor as many ways that I can naturally. If someone loves dogs, music, where they live, how they've lived life, I try to find some overlapping and things in common. So my public speaking really isn't about stretching and digging and hoping for attention. Really what I'm doing is relating with individuals. I know my audience and I've earned their respect. I can show them that I speak Spanish as they speak English, but we get past that. What we really try to do is just pay it forward on experience. And so my public speaking just comes from a level of confidence and assurance that I, A, know what I'm talking about. B, the people that are with me have been filtered already. So it's not some random audience downtown at the center square. And we all have the mutual goal in mind, is to get them prepared to be confident and reliant. And for me to have somebody that I can delegate, promote, and grow with my company. And so it's a nurturing process. So a lot of my sincerity and excitement and authenticity comes through my speaking because I want to win. And so you're giving a very nice motivational speech, but also exceptionally realistic, because there are expectations of those of which you're working. And so as I say before, my stuff is almost tailor-made towards this specific type of audience, but it has to be entertaining. I like to tell stories. And the majority of it is myself skinning knees and falling down to get back up to where I am today so they can understand certain levels. And it makes you humble. If you're able to explain times you've won, you should be able to talk about times you've lost. So you can show the sour and the sweet. And I think it makes you more relatable and realistic. And so, as I mentioned before, my public speaking really is about growing that circle. So people are now engaged instead of just sitting back and absorbing my classes.
Are you affiliated with Toastmasters by any chance?
I've heard of it. No, I'm not associated with any sort of public speaking organizations.
Toastmasters is pretty good, but that is amazing that you did all of this without Toastmasters. That is amazing. And you know what's funny? Can you tell me about your largest collection of restored American pinball machines? Tell me what got you in the aura of wanting to get these pinball machines.
Oh, Kimberly, you're talking about my purest passion. If there was a burning building and I had to make a choice, yeah, I'll take my wife out first. And then I'm back in for the pinball machine. But
you better.
I know. I grew up in the 1970s and 80s. And my generation X, we had really cool game rooms, beautiful machines that had marquees and artwork and all these designs. And so, you know, I grew up in that environment. But the pinball machine, it always seems like a luxury to me. And a quarter on an asteroids machine could last me a half an hour, but it could be gone within a minute on a pinball machine if you don't know the play. And I always wanted to really master that, but I never had the luxury of unlimited play. So I grew up, came to Costa Rica. All of a sudden, I have a company with a lot of space in a call center, and now I have disposable income. So you go on Craigslist and these Mercado Libres and Facebook marketplaces, and you see things. You see people that are selling machines because their arcade is going out of business because this new generation plays on their phone and PlayStation. They don't want these machines. And so I'll call my buddies, Billy, Joey, and Tommy. And we'll get in the truck, drive 4 hours to Perez Zeledon, and we'll go into some dude's bodega and save these machines, like this 1961 Rockola Regis. I brought her back, but they're affordable. I'm not buying things that are tens of thousands of dollars. Yes, the machines could be worth $2,000 to $5,000, but I buy them for about $300 in the condition that they're in. And there are electricians here that can look it over. I can have the owner's manual, which can find the part. And then there's places in the United States and in Europe that can sell you these parts. So $250 investment, another, let's say $300 to $500 for the electrician and making her nice condition. So for $750 to $1,000, you're sitting on a machine that's $5,000. But we're not looking to sell it. It's more of the restoration. And these machines are very delicate and they're complicated. So there's a lot of parts to it. I can understand the cost. But I tell you what, if you're interested in a pinball machine, why would you get something, for an example, let's say a Captain America, Elton John back in the day, or a Superman or a Spider-Man or a Kiss, you know, the rock band. Those are so specific. Yeah, they will be the expensive ones, but then you can get a no-name machine from Bally's, Williams, Data East. You can get Gottlieb. Like, for an example, I have a mousing around machine, which is a 1989 Williams machine, or Bally's, excuse me. That's very different from my last action hero, Arnold Schwarzenegger, which costs a fortune because of Arnold. You know, that stuff's expensive. Or the Doctor Who machine that I have. I'd rather have no names like Space Shuttle, or my Freedom machine, or my oldest one, which is a 1970s Camelot. And right next to it's a 71 Expressway. No namers, under $1,000, but beautifully preserved machines. And Kimberly, my favorite part, because my favorite decade are the 70s, you have these painted play fields compared to today, which do the laminate or the prints. And so you see certain cracks in it and the side art, and it's a much more open play field. They're easier to fix. They're not as complicated. You don't have these computer, cards that can break. These are old spinning wheels and a couple different connectors. And so these machines last. But man, listen to me and my passion. I love these pinball machines. And if you ever get a chance to buy one, I would definitely recommend it. But my friend, does it relax me? And I have a happy medium for the agents that work here. And you know your true passion. That's why I can truly understand when somebody buys a painting or a piece of jewelry or certain shoes. And it might not be your taste. You might have not done it before, but there are some people that get such pleasure out of certain things. And the fact that I know that this brings me such joy and I can share it with others in the restoration, I'm very happy that I've been able to do this at my stage in life. And between me and you and your amazing audience, that's the one hill I'm willing to die on. And my wife knows it. She'll win 99% of this stuff. But when it comes to these beautiful machines, she knows that it makes me happy. And so we have that sort of agreement.
I have a quick question. How much square feet you have in your house to have that many pinball machines?
Well, let's all calm down for a second. Most of my machines are here at the call center in the game room, but when I got my house in Costa Rica, there was a bodega, and it was large enough to put in, let's say, 15 cars if you wanted or something. But I don't collect cars, so I put my home gym in there, and there's 7 pinball machines, a tabletop 1980 Phoenix Century machine, and a 1988 Atari Vindicators tank machine. So there's plenty of room. And so, as I say, I was given my man cave where I can work out, play the games, and hang out and listen to my NXS and have fun. And so, yeah, a lot of what I was choosing in regards to my office space and where I lived, it needed to have that additional space. Mm-hmm.
What is it that you do other than the man cave? What is it that you do on your free time with you and your wife or your child or whatever? What do you do?
Well, we live in paradise, and I'm only an hour and a half away from the closest beach. So we do a lot of traveling to hot springs or national parks. I'll go horseback riding or on a quadriciclo or zip lining and just go exploring. That's a fun thing to do. But it's important. You need to have your own time to decompress. And so I have routines. Growing up, I've always washed my car on a Sunday. So my convertible is always washed on Sunday. As I mentioned, pinball marathons, I work out in the gym every day. But I'm really trying to put my phone down more and to be outside as much as possible. Kind of like when we were children and we would play. And our mothers would call us when the lights would come on and it would be dinner time. And so I'm trying as much as I can to get into gardening and to do things outside that you just become one with the earth a little bit. Maybe as a child or younger, you'd rather be off with your friends playing sports or goofing around. But as an adult, I kind of don't want that rushing and noise and distraction. I really get off on planting things or pulling weeds or raking and having a certain section of my backyard beautiful, and that's a nice thing to do. It's a good self-respect and you see it. And I do live in paradise. So just imagine the sort of flowers, plants, palm trees that I have that are around me. So I'm a kid in a candy store. I love playing with paradise. And those are the things that I do, Kimberly, things that I can't say necessarily are free, but I don't have to pay to play. I don't need to do something that costs a ton of money just to occupy time, say I did it, and to potentially give me some sort of fulfillment. I want to be involved. It's almost like I'm not a gambler, but I would rather put a chip on a roulette table because I kind of feel like I'm more involved some way. Or if you go to live theater, you can kind of feel that sort of energy. And so being at this stage of life now, I really want to have a good give and take. I just don't want to be a spectator anymore. I really want to try new things and do it at certain paces and do things that are slow, low, and easy. So there's no stress. So that's kind of what my wife and I are doing these days.
Tell me about the culture, the food, and the music there. Tell me about those three things.
Have a beautiful Latina culture. There's mucha alegría. There's a lot of happiness. In Costa Rica, their expression is pura vida, which means pure life. They're family oriented. They're God fearing. They have a lot of pride. And their national pride really revolves a lot around nature and how they respect their environment and how they respect one another. And it's a beautiful thing. And when you're in the countryside, people will be more than happy to hand you a banana, a tangerine, or an avocado just because you're passing their farm and they're just in a good mood that day. And I've seen neighborhoods just have wonderful block parties and everyone's cooking and having fun. And it's a culture that likes to dance. It's a romantic culture. And I've just seen people that, since the weather's nice, they're outside a lot. They're active. There's 1,000 soccer games going on the parks on the weekend. And so if you're looking for mucha marcha, if you're looking for excitement and stuff, this is the place to be. It's a good pace. And you can be healthy here. They really stress ecotourism. They want you to hike. They want you to go to the farmer's market and buy all your greens and exotic fruits and vegetables so you can eat healthy. You can feel good. You can look good. You can align yourself and socialize with others that have these same interests of bike riding, hiking, horseback riding, athletics, art. And so for me here, I've been able to experience a lot that I would have never been able to do back in Philadelphia. And I'm the first person to volunteer to do things because I want to live that life. But I tell you what, if you love natural beauty, you really do, this is the place to be, because the flowers and the plants and the butterflies and the colored frogs and iguanas, as I say, it's like it's almost like a movie. But you have to be careful. I don't want you, Kimberly, walking around in flip-flops out in the rainforest. You got to be careful. And so stay on certain paths, follow certain rules, have fun, but don't go over and above because you might get swept up in the moment. And that's where people sometimes get in trouble. And so they need to respect the rip currents. They need to respect hiking trails and conditions out in the rainforest. And if you're horseback riding or on these quadriciclos, don't flip it. Drive slow. Be careful. And if you do these things, you'll have a wonderful experience here. So yes.
Real quick, can you tell me about your, well said, by the way. I listened to everything to the T about everything you just said, and I would love to go visit there based on everything you said. And what I wanted to also know is you hold a bachelor's degree in communication in Spanish from the University of Arizona. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh, I'm a proud wildcat. Oh, Kimberly, you know how much fun it was being in Tucson from 91 to 96? That was great. How did I get there? Well, when I graduated the proud Abington High School, I decided to double down on my favorite class, which was Spanish. Most of my friends were going Ivy League to study medicine, law, engineering, and architecture. I didn't have the maturity, the structure, or the grades for that, but I loved languages. It just so happens the University of Arizona had a wonderful second language department, which had a study abroad program, and also a good communications department. Now, let's call a spade a spade. People say that communication is a blow-off major and a fun time. It was. I'm not saying it was, computer science. Yeah, I know a lot of athletes and people were having fun. We're taking the communication classes. Well, so be it. A lot of people today need the soft skills like you and I have. They need to be able to communicate. But I took certain classes. I took rhetoric. I took public speaking, conflict management, nonverbal communication, micro-expression reading. You might say, well, Richard, it's common sense. Yeah, I got you. But when you're reading books about these tests that they did from 1963 to 1971, these controlled environments and you're reading about these results, it's quite interesting. Really what they're doing is making you more lucid in regards to communication. I almost see it as equivalent to, let's say, an engineer or an architecture. They understand weight distribution and construction material. Well, if you study linguistics so much, you see certain things that most people don't see that haven't been studying it, especially people that study expressions and patterns. And so I figured that if I had a second language and communication skills, Kimberly, my parents would get off my back and I could get a job. Little did I know that these are the sort of skills that can get you to the front of the line and the opportunities.
True.
And I have a luxury trade. The fact I get to write rhetoric and practice, speaking on the phone and training people, I got very lucky. Most people don't get this sort of career, but you sometimes got to dig for it. I'm more of a panning for gold compared to dynamite blasting. I don't know about you, but I'm the kind of guy that's got to collect 100 pennies to make the buck. It's weird like that. And I don't know why, but I'm a grinder outer. I really am. And it's weird like that. And, Kimberly, sometimes by default, I'm the last one standing. I might not be the best looking, the tallest, or the coolest, but I'm still here. And I'm the one that still shows up on time. And I still have my pen at the ready. And a lot of these shiny objects, they fade. And they're one-trick ponies. And they don't have the endurance. They're sprinters. They're not marathon runners. Are they attractive? The greatest. They get chosen. But they haven't been chosen. They're not the real ones. It's funny, you see these movies about the last survivor, and you wonder why this soldier or this individual made it through the labyrinth and could do this. It's not because they were the number one soldier or the number one student. Sometimes it's the random wild card that can think outside of the box. And I'm not giving a cliche. It's just because some people are so molded and they have bad habits and they only think one way. That for me, that's never worked at a call center before. It was Spanish second language. I went from trainer to owner. I went from English speaker to bilingual. And so it's very nice to skip steps. We can jump from time to time. I've jumped steps before. I've found shortcuts. Or maybe I found like a dolly with moving furniture. Instead of carrying a TV to break your back, you can put it on something and roll it outside. There's certain things, Kimberly, in life that can reduce weight. And I just didn't want to force to fit with a career or for a life. And it's the other cool thing, my friend, that when you go above and beyond, the dedicated practice. I just didn't study in school. I lived it. I would speak Spanish, watch movies, read books, and write it. That's not the 5 hours a week in class and a couple hours for homework. That's the real deal. That's winning. That's being an ace. That's doing it. And kiddo, that's the only way I had. I had to grind it out.
We're running short for time, so I had a question for you. I wanted to know, where do you see yourself going for the future of your company, the future in your family, everything? I just wanted to know.
No, first, I can't thank you enough for being on your podcast, and I don't want to go. I always enjoy spending time with you, Kimberly.
Thank you. You too.
You're my buddy. I'd like to step back a little bit so I can have other people run a company. I'd love to give my floor manager a general manager position. And I'd love to have my chief technical officer hire 2 or 3 people so they can oversee. I'd like my wife as the human resources director to step back and promote somebody. Am I looking to retire? No. But I'm also looking to delegate. It's time. So where am I going to be? Well, I'm going to be taking art classes and writing children's books and coming to visit you in the United States and having a lot of fun. Maybe I'm going to take my wife skiing because a Costa Rican's never seen snow before, so she's got to go skiing. Remember, snowplow. And I want every day to feel like a Saturday. I want to liberate myself. And I know how to smile, but I really want to enjoy my now. I do. And I don't want to be on a clock. I want to stay up late or go to bed early. I want to wake up early or sleep in. I don't care. I want to cook really big breakfasts for myself. And I want to plan out my days like it's camp. You know, you have fun, 5 really fun activities to look forward to. And then at night you're making s'mores. That's how I want to live the rest of my life. Are you kidding? They say, Richard, what would you do if you had free time? What wouldn't I do? I don't understand people that are bored. There's so much to do in this life. So, Kimberly, what am I going to do? I'm going to do it all. And the things I like, I'm going to do twice. That's what I'm going to be doing.
Wow. And I have to give you a shout out for posting stuff on Google, the Google platform. And it's been showing that your videos and my videos are posted. And so thank you. And
Of course.
in the next couple months, I would like the 3 to 6 months, I would like to have you back on the show to see where you were at, even if you're doing the same thing, who cares? I still want to have you back on the show.
I'll wear a different suit. Kimberly, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure seeing you. You're the greatest.
Okay. Stay on the line. Thank you, everybody who was watching. Y'all take care and be safe, and bye.